I'm your host, Cindy. I'm trying to still set this up. And there go Elijah. As you well know, there's so much going on in Los Angeles. It's spread to, I believe, Florida, Chicago, New York. And where else are they protesting? Dallas. I think they're in Texas. But anyway, we're here and we're all for all of this. Don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe. It's just so much going on that this is just so newsworthy. We have not been subjected to this being United States citizens. It looked like something from out of a movie. It doesn't even appear real. I believe once this is all over with, the um the illegal immigration into this country and everything is going that we've been experiencing is going to be put into a movie. Because it really looks more like a movie. It looks like something that we're sitting back with our families and we're watching what's happening. It doesn't even appear to be, something that would be allowed to happen into our country. Now, we understand protesting, but we have people in each of these democratic states that allowing to have sanctuary cities that they're spreading throughout, and they are extremely organized. From yesterday until today, they're in several states now, and they're protesting. But what are they protesting for? They're protesting for criminals. They're literally protesting for criminals. ICE is doing their job. They are getting the worst of the worst, which we voted for, off our streets. They're not allowed to go into the prisons because the Democrats and the judges and the judiciary system, they are for this nonsense. They won't even let them go into the prisons and take them and get them out of the country. So they have to go out into the streets. And they know who they're after and who they're trying to apprehend. This is all laid out for them. But now you have the Democrats that have emboldened the illegal immigrants that they're out on the street trying to override the government and is trying to tell our leadership that what we're not going to do. They can just swoop in and really lock them all up, deport all of them, because all of them have broken the law. They are striking these officers. They are hitting them. They're throwing rocks at them. They're looting. They're defacing property. They're doing all these things, and mainstream media is calling this a peaceful protest. There's like 100 channels that are televising what's going on, and it's like they think the American people are so stupid. They have these handful of people out there. They are not speaking for America. This nonsense, we see what's happening. The Democrats are supporting this. They're encouraging the undocumented migrants to go out there, fly their flags, burn our flags, loot the stores, and blame Trump for what's going on when all of this lawlessness is happening. I mean, it's like we have to really look at how influential the news media is, that we can watch what's happening. If you want to win over Americans, then this is not the way. They are fighting. This started because ICE was apprehending, taking in custody criminals. That's what this is about. They weren't trying to apprehend the other illegal immigrants. They weren't going after them. They were apprehending criminals. But when you see these people, they say, oh, this was my uncle. But did you say that this person was a murderer? This person was a rapist? This person has entered the country 2 or 3 times, have committed assaults, all this stuff. And the only thing that they are, the people that they are arresting or attempting to arrest are the criminals. So we're not for this. And you have the governor of California, Gavin Newsom. See, he's taking his orders. Whoever's been running the Democratic Party, because it wasn't Biden, maybe it's Obama, maybe it's Schumer, Nancy Pelosi. Somebody's giving orders for all of this stuff that's going down. They are supporting the chaos. They are supporting what's going on. You don't see any of the leaders coming out saying, this is not how we do things here in this country. None of them are coming out saying, look, this is wrong. We'll take this to the courts. This is wrong. This is not how we behave as United States citizens. But the point of it is, they're not United States citizens. And that's why this is being allowed. And that's why this is going on. But we're going to tune into some of this because it's just crazy. And
Yeah, you can take into your country. Right. That's what he said, and that's the attitude from the Trump administration. People here that are supporting the undocumented say, you know what? They're just here trying to make a better life for their children and their family.
All right, Susan,
That's a peaceful protester.
as we watch this downtown, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
like it just
Fox 11 traffic is
it
sponsored
just
by
really
Morgan
doesn't
Okay, so we are getting
it really doesn't make any sense, like what's being allowed to happen inside of our country. And this is something that we're not accustomed to seeing. We're not accustomed to having people from another country literally take over our streets and make demands. And I look at it like this. Everything's been given to them. They came into this country and they received luxury apartments, food stamps, $13,000 worth of food stamps benefits, ATM cards with thousands of dollars. People saying like 20,000 or I don't know how much. Education, healthcare, Medicaid, phones, cars. They even started businesses with money, giving them what they wanted to eat. So what are they complaining about when they have had the red carpet rolled out for them? But now they have the audacity to be in the streets and they are complaining about our countrymen, our elected people in authority to do their job, to arrest criminals.
Yeah, I heard that some were driving without a driver's license.
Yeah, they allow them to drive without a driver's license. They don't have to have a driver's license.
Insanity.
This and they want this because if we allow this to go down, they're telling them that you don't have to apply for citizenship. We're going to make this government legalize y'all because then y'all could run amok. Y'all could do whatever you want to. I've never seen cops. It's on film. I might show it. They are literally knocking cops upside the head. I have never seen that, and people not thrown to the ground and put in jail for 20 years for assaulting a police officer. There is no level of pullback, and excuses are being made for their behaviors by mainstream media. They are contending, talking about, still have the audacity talking about that this is peaceful protesting. And we know that's a lie from hell. It just isn't true. And Trump has common sense that he had to send the military because they thought that they really felt as though that they could overpower our government.
No, IFK, I actually was the Republican first.
They feel as though that they can literally overpower our government. They feel as though that they are empowered by the left, or they wouldn't be doing this.
The Democrats, I've noticed, never say anything valid. They always just come to argue.
Because they don't have any talking points. There's nothing, you cannot validate what's happening. You can't validate this nonsense. You can't validate. You can't come into someone else. You cannot go to someone else's country and do what they're doing and see what happens to you. Go there and make your demands and overtake their law enforcement and
Go to Russia.
Go to Russia. Go to China. Go somewhere, because this has never happened in the United States. Go to one of the other countries and do what they're doing. And plus, the thing about it is that they've been given everything. They have no complaints. We have our military vets that are on the streets, and they have taken, the left have made them a priority. They have given them everything. They should be quiet.
Like Black Panther, I've given you everything.
I've given you everything. They need to be quiet and stay down. Because guess what? We voted to get them deported.
Oh, Jocelyn's back. Freedom of speech.
Okay, sorry, you guys. That was technical difficulty by Elijah.
My bad, guys.
Anyway, you gotta be careful because this is like
Yeah, I was
this
trying to look
arm
at
for
the
some
chat.
reason. Yeah, you can, but you can't put
That was my
pressure
bad.
on it.
That was my bad.
Yeah, but it's just amazing that this is a time that they should be standing down. They have nothing to complain about. You're not going to force America to go against the citizens that are here. You could do what you want, run amok, and demand for ICE not to do their job, apprehending criminals. The protest is about criminals being arrested, not your everyday illegal migrant walking around. These are the criminals that they went to arrest, and they want to stop them from making America safe again. You know, making America safe. When did people start fighting against taking criminals off the streets? And they act like they have a right. And what do they think the United States is going to do? Say, okay, you're flying your Mexican flag and you spitting on our flag, burning our flags. And we're supposed to say, okay, we're going to do what you say because you're protesting. So we're going to let free the criminals back. Like that's what they've been doing, letting them run loose in our communities. So I guess that's what y'all think that's going to happen, how this is going to happen, go down, that you're going to protest to the point. These Democrats are behind all of this. And they're using these undocumented immigrants to make them think that they have power. Y'all don't have more power than American citizens. Our laws were written for us. They're not written for you. And things will turn around. They're going to turn around. And when Americans start having a louder voices, and the people that are against this nonsense start speaking up and getting out there, you'll see real numbers. Y'all think these little pocket of demonstrators are numbers? You haven't seen anything yet. Wait till the people that voted for Trump, independents, Republicans, and former Democrats put that man in office. Wait until we start getting out there and we start showing y'all that this is not what we want. If anyone was going to be on your side, it's over with. People are not looking at this like you're in the right. You can't make right wrong or wrong right. This is wrong. And you're being used by the people, the Democratic Party that's sitting in Washington, that's organizing this, Governor Newsom and them, they sitting back while all this chaos is going on. And then they had the nerve to try to blame Trump for the chaos.
What's up, Outlaw?
Hey, Outlaw. Let's hear from the governor.
Yeah, they're trying to blame Trump.
Of course they are. That's all they do.
Scale workplace raids in and around Los Angeles. Those raids continue as I speak. California is no stranger to immigration enforcement, but instead of focusing on undocumented immigrants with serious criminal records and people with final deportation orders, a strategy both parties have long supported. This administration is pushing mass deportations, indiscriminately targeting hardworking immigrant families, regardless of their...
Okay. You know what? This liar, I mean, I couldn't even get past it. I mean, just started the video. This is live. I am going to play it. But he's lying. He's lying. This is not about mass deportation. This is about a handful of people that ICE went to apprehend that are criminals, and that the public, the illegal immigrants were organized to go out there to stop ICE from doing their job. We had mass invasion, but then you talk about mass deportation is an issue. And they know they bring nothing to the table, this administration. But he's like building it up and painting a picture that's a false picture. This was ICE. Let's stay on facts. This was ICE going out there to arrest criminals.
Roots or risk. What's happening right now is very different than anything we've seen before. On Saturday morning, when federal agents jumped out of an unmarked van near a Home Depot parking lot, they began grabbing people, a deliberate targeting of a heavily Latino suburb. A similar scene played out when a clothing company was raided downtown. In other actions, a U.S. citizen, 9 months pregnant, was arrested. A 4-year-old girl taken, families separated, friends quite literally disappearing. In response, everyday Angelenos came out to exercise their constitutional right to free speech and assembly, to protest their government's actions.
That is not
In
their
turn,
government. They're
the state of
flying
California
Mexican
and the
flags.
city and county of Los Angeles sent our police officers to help keep the peace. And with some exceptions, they were successful. Like many states, California is no stranger to this sort of unrest.
You know how long
We
took
manage
to
it
put this
regularly
together?
and with our own law enforcement. But this, again, was different.
Yeah, you gotta, you can't do it like that.
Was the use of tear gas, flashbang grenades, rubber bullets. Federal agents detaining people and undermining their due process rights. Donald Trump, without consulting
He's the bad guy.
California law enforcement leaders, commandeered 2,000 of our state's National Guard members to deploy on our streets, illegally and for no reason. This brazen abuse of power by a sitting president inflamed a combustible situation, putting our people, our officers, and even our National Guard at risk. That's when the downward spiral began. He doubled down on his dangerous National Guard deployment by fanning the flames even harder. And the president, he did it on purpose. As the news spread throughout LA, anxiety for family and friends ramped up. Protests started again. By night, several dozen lawbreakers became violent and destructive. They vandalized property. They tried to assault police officers. Many of you have seen the video clips of cars burning on cable news. If you incite violence, I want to be clear about this. If you incite violence or destroy our communities, you're going to be held to account. That kind of criminal.
You know what? I'm sorry. This guy is a joke. He sat on his hands and he did nothing prior to this even elevating. Now, he took 4 days to come up with a pre-written speech. 4 days. So that they could put together a speech to put this not on the people that are committing these crimes, not the people that's stopping law enforcement from doing their jobs, not on the people that are attacking these officers, but he's putting this on the president of the United States for sending help in when the police chief said it was out of hand and they could not handle it. This man sat on his hands doing, and that fake mayor, and these are, remember, these are the same two people that allowed wildfires to burn down the Palisades in California. These are the same two inactive people of authority that allow the wildfires. No water in the reservoir. He said it took 4 days. What is this, the 4th or 5th day? And now this is a pre-written speech that he's come up with, painting a lie. After we've been watching this in real time. We've been watching this in real time for the last few days, for 4 days. How does he have the audacity? This was just on 48 minutes ago. He's going to now, after all this, he wants to shift all the blame because he didn't take action. Their behavior was lawlessness. They were bucking the authority of the officials. They were out of order. These people, this is not what we are going to allow. You're not even supposed to be here. You're driving your cars around. You're shooting off fireworks in the street. You're burning down cars. You got all this stuff going on. You're defiant of those in authority over you. There are Mexicans that's online saying they don't do this in Mexico. This is not even allowed. They're on there saying, look at what you're doing. Y'all look like fools. Your ancestors would be ashamed of you with your behaviors. But they've been told that this is fine by this man. And he's not even holding them accountable. He should have been and had day one. He should have had a news conference. He does not, and this man wants to run for president. Day one, he should have done a news conference telling them to stand down. You have to allow ICE to do their job. How about why didn't he support them in removing criminals off the streets? He wants to make this into mass deportation because that's why they went over El Salvador to go get Kilmar. They don't want to let one criminal out of the country because what they're pushing for is legalizing these immigrants for votes. This is not about the people. And they think if they yell louder, because the mainstream, every news channel is owned by the Democrats. They're Democrats. That's why they're feeding all this bull crap. You have to go online to independent content creators. You have to go on news programs where they're talking about both sides. And it's not CNN, MSNBC, ABC, CBS, Meet the Press, none of them. You have to go and find content creators like Cash Jordan, Nick Shirley, other people who have boots on the ground. That's not going to sugarcoat. But this is what, it's hard. Like, he's not, but to listen to him is hard. I'm telling
will
you.
not be tolerated. Full stop. Already more than 220 people have been arrested. And we're reviewing
not because of you,
additional cases.
Because of
and
Trump.
People will be prosecuted to the fullest extent
Look at this.
of the law. Again, thanks to our law enforcement officers and the majority of Angelenos who protested peacefully, the situation was winding down and was concentrated in just a few square blocks downtown. But that's not what Donald Trump wanted. He again chose escalation. He chose
Look
more
at
force.
this.
He chose theatrics over public safety. He federalized another 2,000 Guard members. He deployed more than 700 active U.S. Marines. These are the men and women trained for foreign
Send a million soldiers throughout the United States.
We honor their service. We honor their bravery. But
5 days, 4 days for this man to come up with a speech. Be careful.
Forces, not in L.A., not in California, not anywhere.
You can also get
We're seeing unmarked cars.
Okay.
Unmarked cars in school parking lots. Kids afraid of attending their own graduation. Trump is pulling a military dragnet all across Los Angeles, well beyond his stated intent to just go after violent and serious criminals. His agents are arresting dishwashers, gardeners.
Okay, Democrats. Can you hear me now? Y'all need a new playbook. Y'all have to stop blaming Trump for everything. These people are out of order. He didn't do his job. He should have ordered the National Guards to come in because those police officers were overwhelmed by what was going on. They were throwing bricks, rocks at their cars. They had hammers breaking up sidewalks, destroying the police officers' cars. One got hit in the face. I mean, he's on here. The playbook is getting old. That's why we got Captain America. That's Trump. He's Captain America. Because this insanity that's been going on is overwhelming. It's insanity. And all this time, they can't even talk. He took 4, do y'all understand how many days he has taken for them to write this fake speech for this man? And only thing that they keep talking about, like Trump is the one out there causing this? Not the people. Those are adults out there. How are you not even supposed to be here and you're causing all this chaos? You know this is being seen all over the world. America, it looks like we're out of control. We're not controlling our country. We're being overrun by illegal aliens. That's the news for the rest of the world. They're trying to figure out how we allowing this to go on. They're trying to figure out how is this America, land of the free, the brave and the blue, how is America allowing this to happen in the United States of America? We're supposed to be the big dogs of the world. How are we allowing this to happen inside of our country? Because we have people like this fake governor and these Democrats that have done nothing but destroy this country, and they're continuing with their agenda to destroy this country by all means necessary for votes.
And something with the
Go ahead.
Democrats, it's always the same old same.
Same people.
Yeah, it's nothing new. It's always the same.
The
thing.
same. That's why people get on here. They be angry. They don't have anything to say because they haven't given them a new script. They have not been able to give them any talking points.
Yeah.
When you're a talker, you need talking points. When you want to defend what you believe in, you need talking points. This man is so fake and phony. And what about what you were supposed to do, Newsom? Newsom. They call him Newsom. What about your lack of action? Let's talk about you.
This hairstyle reminds me of Jimmy Neutron.
Day laborers and seamstresses. That's just weakness. Weakness masquerading
Look at
as
this.
strength. Donald Trump's government isn't protecting our communities. They're traumatizing our communities.
Look at this
And
lie.
that seems to be the entire point. California will keep fighting. We'll keep fighting on behalf of our people, all of our people, including in the courts. Just yesterday, we filed a legal challenge to Donald Trump's reckless deployment of American troops to a major American city. Today, we sought an emergency court order to stop the use of the American military to engage in law enforcement activities across Los Angeles. If some of us could be snatched off the streets without a warrant, based only on suspicion or skin color, then none of us are safe. Authoritarian regimes begin by targeting people who are least able to defend themselves, but they do not stop there. Trump and his loyalists
They feel like
thrive
they're
on
defending
division
themselves
because
to
it
me.
allows them to take more power and exert even more control. And by the way, Trump, he's not opposed to lawlessness and violence as long as it serves him. What more evidence do we need than January 6th? Ask everyone. Take time, reflect on this perilous moment. A president who wants to be bound by no law or constitution, perpetuating a unified assault on American traditions.
We want to create ads that actually get coaching clients completely for free and live over a 4-hour ads to clients workshop where we are
This is a president who in just over 140 days has fired government watchdogs that could hold him accountable for corruption and fraud. He's declared a war on culture, on history, on science, on knowledge itself. Databases, quite literally, are vanishing. He's delegitimizing news organizations, and he's assaulting the First Amendment. And the threat of defunding them, at threat, he's dictating what universities themselves can teach. He's targeting law firms and the judicial branch that are the foundations of an orderly and civil society. He's calling for a sitting governor to be arrested for no other reason than to, in his own words, for getting elected. And we all know this Saturday, he's ordering our American heroes, the United States military, and forcing them to put on a vulgar display to celebrate his birthday, just as other failed dictators have done in the past. Look, this isn't just about protests here in Los Angeles. When Donald Trump sought blanket authority to commandeer the National Guard, he made that order apply to every state in this nation. This is about all of us. This is about you. California may be first, but it clearly will not end here. Other states are next. Democracy is next. Democracy is under
here go the word
assault before
democracy.
our eyes. This moment,
When
we
they
have
are a
feared
threat to
has
democracy.
He's taking a wrecking ball to our founding fathers' historic project. 3 co-equal branches of independent government. There are no longer any checks and balances. Congress is nowhere to be found. Speaker Johnson has completely abdicated that responsibility. The rule of law has increasingly been given way to the rule of Don. The founding fathers, they didn't live and die to see this kind of moment. It's time for all of us to stand up. Justice Brandeis, you said it best. In democracy, the most important office, with all due respect, Mr. President, is not the presidency, and it's certainly not governor. The most important office is office of citizen. At this moment, we all need to stand up and be held to account, a higher level of accountability. If you exercise your First Amendment rights, please do it peacefully. I know many of you are feeling deep anxiety, stress, and fear, but I want you to know that you are the antidote to that fear and that anxiety. What Donald Trump wants most is your fealty, your silence to be complicit in this moment. Do not give in to him.
This was okay. Let's use Biden words. That was a bunch of malarkey. that right there was a bunch of malarkey. I mean, it really doesn't make any sense that these people are that to have the governor take over 4 days and this scripted speech, but he didn't hold himself accountable about any of it. That's his state. He's the governor. He was the one supposed to keep law and order, but that's not what they wanted. He refused to move. Trump waited a couple of days before he sent in the National Guards because of him being inactive and allowing all the chaos to go on. That didn't happen the first day that Trump sent the National Guards. It was the 3rd day while this man sat around. And then they still had the audacity to blame Trump because these people are running around lawlessness in real life. They're not following the laws of America. This is ridiculous. Now he's going to come in and he wants to talk down about our Captain America. You know that's Trump. He's the real life Captain America. I'm serious. Look at what he has to deal with. It's like logic and reality has left the building. It's like they think we all are going to be bamboozled by bull crap. It's like, it's so unbelievable that they think people are so gullible. It's like they think we are all stupid. They literally think we're stupid, that he would get on here and not even hold himself accountable. He didn't hold himself accountable. He's the governor. Did he say once his actions about diffusing the situation prior to Trump having to send the National Guards out there? And even when they got there, they've still been out of order. Did he hold himself accountable for any of this? Why did he feel it was okay for these people to go against authority like that? When did that become law? When did that become that we've been the people? That means everybody that go to court and stuff. Then everybody in America need to have been doing that. They're going to demand that ICE free these people that committed murder and rape and assaults and have done all kind of heinous crimes to children. They don't even want them to arrest them. And they got these people out there telling them, oh, they're coming for you next. Mass deportation. Those are the talking points. So y'all need to get out there. Don't worry, we're backing you up. Hey, y'all better remember about the rest of America. Y'all forgetting about us. Y'all might be the loudest, but we take action. We utilize our votes. And heads up, Democrats, we're going to vote all y'all out of office because we see you. And statistically, what's going on, we're showing it, that Trump has his ratings, his polls are so high. And I'm gonna show you that in a bit. It's insanity. And they think that they could just tell us anything, and this man has been inactive. Completely inactive. Completely inactive. He didn't take any accountability for him standing down and doing nothing. Took 4 days to come up with this fake speech. Like he's trying to look presidential, I guess, because he wanted to run for president. This is insanity on another level, but we're not going for the okie doke here. They can forget it. They can forget it. I'm glad Trump is how he is because they want to destroy our country. That's the agenda.
Situation in Los Angeles, California, where President Donald Trump deployed National Guard troops to the city this weekend to address the violent clashes between immigration enforcement authorities and demonstrators. The U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE as they are known, began a series of raids last Friday in the country's second largest city. The raid sparked several demonstrations and subsequent clashes between protesters and law enforcement. Many threw rocks at ICE vehicles and set fire to other vehicles in downtown Los Angeles. Those actions prompted President Trump
to after
order
those
the
actions
deployment of up to 2,000 National Guard troops.
That's
to
what
Los
he forgot to
despite
say.
Objections from Governor Gavin Newsom and Mayor Karen Bass. Here's what President Trump wrote on Truth Social yesterday in response to the situation in Los Angeles. Quote, "A once great American city, Los Angeles, has been invaded and occupied by illegal aliens and criminals.
That's
now
right.
Violent insurrectionist mobs are swarming and attacking our federal agents to try and stop our deportation operations. But these lawless riots only strengthen our resolve. I am directing Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, and Attorney General Pam Bondi and agencies to take all such action necessary to liberate Los Angeles from the migrant invasion and put an end to these migrant riots. Order will be restored, the illegals will be expelled, and Los Angeles will be set free. Thank you for your attention to this matter," end quote. Meanwhile, Governor Newsom said this morning that the state of California is suing the Trump administration,
Unbelievable.
claiming President Trump illegally federalized the National Guard. Here's what he wrote on social media about the clashes between protesters and law enforcement. This is, quote, exactly what Donald Trump wanted, end quote. He went on to say, quote, "He flamed the fires and illegally acted to federalize the National Guard. The order he signed doesn't just apply to California, it will allow him to go into any state and do the same thing. We are suing him," end quote. You know, I get where Gavin Newsom is coming from.
I don't. It's like this stuff that's going on is just unbelievable. And this man has done nothing to try to rectify the situation. He's done nothing to do anything.
Check this out, ladies and gentlemen.
If we just take a look at the baseline numbers here, this is Trump's net approval rating on immigration. It's gone up like a rocket. Compare now versus 8 years ago during Trump's first term. Look at this. In his first term, Trump was way, way, way underwater at minus 21 points. But look at this. He's up over 20 points. Now, in the aggregate, he is in positive territory at plus 1 point on his net approval rating. Some other polls even have it a little bit higher than that. There is no issue on which Trump is doing so much better than he was in his first term, more than the issue of immigration. No wonder the Times has written up the way that he is. Trump is begging for a fight on this because he knows what he's doing so far is working with the American electorate. The American electorate believe that the Democrats don't have a clue on the issue of immigration. I mean, you could just take it here. Closer to trust more in immigration, Democrats versus Republicans. Got 3 different polls for you across the board. They all tell the same story. Republicans lead on the issue of immigration. You see it here, CBS +6. You see it here, CNN +6.
Facts.
You see it here,
This
Ipsos,
is
even
CNN.
bigger, +19. No matter what poll you look at, no matter which way you cut it, the American public is with the Republicans, the American public is with Donald Trump, and to a much greater extent than they were in term number one. And it's not just on the broad issue of immigration, it's on the specifics as well, in which the American public is with Donald Trump and the Republicans. And that is why Donald Trump is eager to take on this fight and eager for those scenes out of Los Angeles.
So if you want to
See, that's the truth. That's what's going on. And the Democrats have these people all pumped up, and they're just really turning any allies that would have supported them in some way, or fashion. But what's going on now? And that Gavin Newsom, he didn't take any responsibility for his lack of action, that he's allowing this. Trump didn't send it, and I'm reiterating because I said this earlier, that Trump didn't send in the National Guards until he saw, after the third freaking day, that this Governor Newsom wasn't doing anything about it, or Mayor Bates. They had already taken over the city. They were already setting cars on fire, destroying property, looting, defacing, flying their flag, spitting on the American flag, and burning it. All that stuff was going on, and he did nothing. And now he wants to sue President Trump. He wants to sue President Trump because they want this lawlessness to continue and tie the hands of the president and the American people. To allow this to continue. I don't think so. Now, we're supposed to keep the law, but everyone else can break the law. But we're supposed to abide by what these liberal judges are saying too. They're trying to override the president of the United States. And if they allow these people to do whatever they want to, we lost our country. I don't care if you're independent, Republican, Democrat, we lost this country over to undocumented immigrants. That's what's transpiring. That's where we're heading towards. You got anything you want to say?
Oh, there goes the video.
Which one was that? Was she's knocking the
when
crap
she's
out of?
slapping the cop.
Tanks and took the American flags and burned them. One of the guys organizing these riots said
See,
this
they're
is war.
organized.
This weekend was marked with absolute and total violence, brutal repression, and attacks, coordinated attacks against our community. For us as indigenous people to these lands, to this continent, this is nothing new. The military going after us is nothing new. We don't advocate for violence, but when they use brutal violence against our people and kidnapping mothers and fathers from children is violent. When they do things like that, we have every right, every historic right to defend our communities by any ways that we can, and we're going to continue to do so.
CNN says we should just raise the white flag and let Mexico have California back.
Remember that California was part of Mexico. All of the Southwest is Mexico. So the roots are really deep in that region. And what they're saying is, no, not in our community.
We won the Mexican-American War. Mexico signed a treaty.
Look at this.
LA
This is
is not an
America.
Indian reservation. I'm sorry, it's a part of the United States. Notice how the rest of the media isn't even interviewing
Look at her knocking the
rioters.
crap out of the police
It's almost
officer.
like they don't ask questions.
Look at that.
Because they know they're not going to like the answers.
Look at that.
Here's why.
We don't agree with the term illegal. We're undocumented. We've been here for thousands of years before you guys showed up. Screw up everything. We're anti-capitalist. We think socialism does work, real socialism.
Is there a country we can look to kind of model the socialism idea?
The only model would be Soviet Union the first 4 years.
That right there says it all. So guess what side the Democrats are on?
Let me be clear. Congressional Democrats stand in full solidarity with the residents of Los Angeles, with our immigrant sisters and brothers, and with the peaceful protesters who dare to speak out and who will support every effort to oppose this president's abuse of power.
Democrats are telling cops to stand down and rioters to stand up.
That's
LA
what they're
Mayor
doing.
Karen Bass says the riots will stop once the ICE raids stop.
I would say stop the raids. Stop the raids, period. I would say give the power back to our governor. And if we need the National Guard, we can do it in the normal circumstances, which is the request is made local and the governor decides or not to grant that to our city.
We're getting extorted by the LA mayor. It's like a hostage crisis, but she's threatening to burn her own city down. Trump, not a guy who likes being extorted.
Mr. President, these protests obviously started in reaction to these large-scale ICE operations in Los Angeles. Should people expect to see similar operations in the rest of the country?
No.
And will similar protests see similar response?
As you know, we're moving murderers out of our country that were put here by Biden or the auto pen. The auto pen really did it. We're not going to let them stay. And this is the first, perhaps, of many, or perhaps, if we didn't attack this one very strongly, you'd have them all over the country. But I can inform the rest of the country that when they do it, if they do it, they're going to be met with equal or greater force than we met right here.
The LA mob is fired up because Democrats called ICE Nazis and the Gestapo. And now they're calling them slave catchers.
Look at this.
This reminds me historically of it's not a clear analogy, but when the nation, when these political factions,
MSNBC,
between slaveholders and slave catchers, with ICE running around LA, forcing people to make choices, will they protect their friends, their neighbors, their family members?
That makes Barack Obama the biggest slave catcher in America because he had Tom Homan rounding up a record number of illegals.
Record numbers.
So after lying to us, extorting us, and then calling us Nazi slave owners, Democrats are covering up the riots like Biden's brain.
This is the fastest proof.
This is crazy. It really is just on another level of insanity.
When a team wins a national championship and people get overexcited and they overturn vehicles and light them on fire, local law enforcement is prepared to handle those types of situations. Marines and National Guardsmen are not.
Yeah, Dodgers fans went a little nuts when they beat the Yankees, but this is a 5-day riot. Pelosi said cut them some slack. People are just feeling a little exuberant.
When there is a gathering, a large gathering of people, the anarchists see it as an opportunity and they move in. So always have to be careful whether you see a burned car or broken window or whatever it is. It may be the exuberance of the moment, but it may be the anarchist setting in.
Maxine Waters, no relation, says, what violence? I don't see any violence.
Even those who were out of step with what we are advocating, peaceful protest, did not create any violence. Nobody was shot, nobody was killed. Get it in your head. Don't think that somehow, because they called out the National Guard, there was violence. There was no violence. I was on the street. I know.
You was telling people to shoot me.
I didn't see violence.
Don't shoot me.
I didn't see Biden decline. The whole country sees violence on their TVs, on their phones.
Look at this.
Stelter says, don't be confused by what you watch. The violence could be from 2 hours ago.
You got to be careful at a delicate moment like this to look at the timestamps, look at the dates, look at when things are actually posted, and if they're really from the situation they're purporting to be. A lot of these algorithms are surfacing hours old or even days old content. So you might be looking at a video of something, wondering what's happening in LA. It's actually from 2 days ago. And that's, only matters because it can give people a false impression of what's actually happening at a moment of unrest.
Where would we be without Brian Stelter to explain the concept of time? The riot started on Friday, and today is Tuesday. LA County Police say you should believe your own eyes.
Every single police officer and deputy sheriff right now wants this to end. Unfortunately, the governor of California is 100% adding fuel to the flames. His rhetoric is one thing. What he says is one thing. What he does is another. He is absolutely part of the problem that we're seeing here. And so there is a lack of cooperation with the state of California and local officials.
Gavin's giving folks room to riot just like tampon. Same thing happened in the Summer of Love. Democrat governors let violence fester until finally Trump restored order. Trump's not waiting around this time. He says if it wasn't for him, LA would be up in smoke.
Called him up to tell him, got to do a better job. He's doing a bad job, causing a lot of death, a lot of potential death. If we didn't send out the National Guard, and last time we gave him a little additional help,
3 days before he sent them out.
Los Angeles would be burning right now. The radical left, it's usually radical left, and it's usually governors that are Democrat, and they don't want to call them in. They don't want to save lives. They don't want to save property. They don't want to call them in. I don't know what it is.
Newsom responded, and he said there wasn't a phone call. He said Trump never called him. Not even a voicemail, he said. But John Roberts got Trump's call logs, and it shows Trump called him late Friday night, and they talked for 16 minutes.
Wow.
Why would Newsom lie saying Trump never called him? Why would he do that?
Wow.
Gavin could have called up the guard Friday night and could have stopped the violence and saved millions of dollars in damages. But we're now on our 5th day of mayhem, and Newsom's suing Trump to send the guard home. And California congressmen,
look at this.
They're telling the National Guard to disobey orders.
The legal provision Donald Trump is relying on to deploy the National Guard under 10 U.S.C. Section 12406, he is violating the law because that provision very clearly says that the governors of the states have to give the order, and Governor Newsom clearly didn't do that. And this is very important
to
continue. Every National Guard member to read their orders, read the law, and then decide for themselves if they're following an unlawful order.
Ted Lieu's a lawyer, and he doesn't know what the law is. Presidents have mobilized the Guard and overruled governors before. Washington did it for the Whiskey Rebellion. Grant sent federal forces to South Carolina to stop the Klan from preying on blacks. Eisenhower used the 101st Airborne in Little Rock when the Democrat governor there was fighting desegregation. And Kennedy put down segregationist rallies in Mississippi. Trump's just wielding the power that the country gave him in a landslide. He swept the battlegrounds, won the popular vote, and moved almost every county in the country to the right, including LA County. And he's not the one who mandated vaccines and censored you and the Democrats can't control the narrative anymore. Trump's not a dictator, and these riots are violent. They said no one's above the law, remember that? But they let illegals break into the country and then hide them in their cities and then attack ICE when they move in to do their job. These riots are getting no cultural traction, none. No one's posting Mexican flags on Instagram. No one's taking a knee with a sombrero. Companies aren't being blackmailed into donating millions to an open borders charity. It's not happening like BLM, remember? These LA riots make January 6th look like a picnic. And Karen and Gavin couldn't stop fires, clean up the homeless, fight crime, or shut down the virus. What makes you think they'd shut down this riot? Is the real reason they're fighting ICE this hard because the more migrants they deport from California, the less congressional seats the state gets?
Absolutely.
Remember, the census counts people.
Always
not
about
citizens.
votes.
So they're burning down their own city to maintain political power. If they're capable of that, they're capable of anything. Click here.
Wow. That's exactly what's going on. It is just crazy that these people actually been elected into office. I mean, they are showing their true colors, that they are not about American citizens.
I wanted to let the city know that I have declared a local emergency and issued a curfew for downtown Los Angeles to stop the vandalism, to stop the looting.
Finally.
Many businesses have now been affected by or vandalized. Last night, there were 23 businesses that were looted. And I think that if you drive through
Look at this.
downtown LA, the graffiti is everywhere and has caused significant damages to businesses and a number.
You know what? This shows how idiotic these freaking people are. They allow the city to be wiped out. They need to take somebody that's in California, they need to go show all the destruction, all the graffiti. They have destroyed the communities. They have destroyed people where people live at and gather at. Los Angeles is a wonderful place to be at, to travel to prior to all of this illegal immigration that's been going on. They don't respect this country. They don't respect the United States of America. They have shown us that by burning a flag and spitting on it. They don't fly the American flag. They fly the flags of their countries of origin. And if they love their country so much, then why don't they go back to them? Why are you bringing all this chaos here? You don't have any rights. They're walking around and acting like they have a right to overthrow our government. They have a right to demand our officials not to do their jobs. They have a right to hit a cop in the face with their handbags several times. It's like they have a right to loot, and they're just carrying on. And these people, that incompetent mayor and governor, 5 days, and they got these pre-written speeches. Trump, at least he talks off of the top of his head. There's no pre-written speech or script or teleprompter. And now, with all this destruction, now she's talking about, I'm issuing a curfew. You're like 5 days too late. Now you're talking about all the destruction, but you say this has been a peaceful protest. Trump, hear this. He didn't send people in until 3 days later. 3 days. 3 days. With no action by these people. You know the only action that they want to take? Can anybody guess? The action they want to take? The only action that these people want to take is taking Trump to court for sending in the National Guards to bring back law and order. That's their only action. And you know what? As Americans, we are pissed that they think that they can treat us this way and that we're falling for the okie doke.
Of properties. So my message to you is, if you do not live or work in downtown LA, avoid the area. Law enforcement will arrest individuals who break the curfew, and you will be prosecuted. Hundreds of officers from police and sheriff departments from across the region and state are working alongside LAPD through a unified command structure. The curfew will be in place tonight from 8 p.m. until 6 a.m. I want to thank the governor for his partnership, and especially thank our state and local leaders and deputies, officers and deputies who are working tirelessly. So curfew guidance, again, it will begin at 8 p.m. tonight and go until 6 a.m. tomorrow. I will consult with elected leaders and law enforcement officials tomorrow on the continuation of the curfew, but we certainly expect for it to last for several days. The curfew area will be between the 5 freeway and to the 110, and the 10 freeway to where the 110 freeway and 5 freeway merge. You look at the map, and you can see that the city of Los Angeles is a massive area, 502 square miles. The area of downtown where the curfew will take place is 1 square mile. I think it is important to point this out, not to minimize the vandalism and violence that has taken place there. It has been significant, but it is extremely important to know that what is happening in this 1 square mile is not affecting the city. Some of the imagery of the protests and the violence gives the appearance as though this is a citywide crisis, and it is not. So everyone must abide by this curfew. Limited exceptions will apply for residents, people traveling to and from work, and credentialed media representatives. With that, I would like to turn it over to Chief Jim McDonald.
Thank you, Mayor Bass. Good afternoon, everyone. As the mayor stated, a curfew for the impacted area shown here will go into effect tonight. And I want to be absolutely clear that if you're within that designated curfew zone between the hours of 8 p.m. and 6 a.m. And are not exempt under the order, you're going to be subject to arrest. The curfew boundaries are as follows: from the 5 freeway to the 110 freeway, and from the 10 freeway to the point where the 110 and the 5 merge. Easier to look at it on that map for description. The curfew is necessary, a necessary measure to protect lives and safeguard property following several consecutive days of growing unrest throughout the city. Since Saturday, we've seen a concerning escalation in unlawful and dangerous behavior. On Saturday, LAPD officers made 27 arrests. On Sunday, that number rose to 40. By Monday, arrests totaled 114, and today alone, we've made 197 arrests. The recent days, it's been as a part of a unified command with our partner agencies who've responded through mutual aid compact and been very, very helpful to us, and we're very thankful for that participation. Of those I mentioned for today, 130 were arrested near Commercial and Alameda. An additional 67 were taken into custody after unlawfully occupying the 101 freeway near Commercial Street. Our CHP partners were instrumental in that. So again, let me be clear that this behavior, blocking freeways, city streets, and on-ramps, refusing to comply with lawful dispersal orders, and interfering with public safety operations is dangerous, unlawful, and won't be tolerated. If you are in the curfew zone during the restricted hours without that legal exemption, you will be arrested. If you assault an officer in any fashion, you will be arrested. We're operating under a unified command with our partners at the Los Angeles City Fire Department, the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, the California Highway Patrol. We're fully coordinated, and our shared mission is clear: to restore peace and ensure the safety of everyone in our city. We previously mobilized part of our department at LAPD while keeping our ability to be able to provide the services that our community deserves going. We're going to be adding to that deployment with additional internal LAPD resources in the days ahead. The curfew does not apply to residents within the designated area, individuals experiencing homelessness, credentialed media, or public safety and emergency personnel. To be clear again, that's not about silencing voices or suppressing lawful protest. When that expression crosses into unlawful conduct, when lives are put at risk, and when our city's safety is compromised, we must act, and we will act. We urge all Angelenos to cooperate with these public safety measures. Our shared goal is to protect our communities and return to a state of calm and safety for everyone. Thank you.
All of these are written speeches.
Let me introduce now the councilwoman who represents the majority of the district, Councilwoman Isabel Harato.
They all have written speeches.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm here today not just as a council member who represents downtown LA, but as its advocate who deeply loves and believes in this community. The history of Los Angeles began right here in downtown, where 200 years later, the grouping of historic neighborhoods remains the beating heart of our city, a place with rich culture and deep community. Downtown LA is a place where workers clock in before sunrise and small business owners know their customers by name, where neighbors greet each other on the sidewalk, and where generations of families have built lives, shared stories, made memories together side by side. It's one of the most vibrant and resilient and hopeful parts of our city, but too often downtown LA is treated like a backdrop for major events, not the living, breathing community it is. And right now, it's hurting. I am deeply proud that downtown has always been the place where Angelenos from all over the city gather to peacefully protest. I support the right to demonstrate, and the mayor and I know that right is sacred, and at times it's necessary, but we must also face that.
You know what? This is just hard for me to listen to. All these people have been so inactive, and they all are reading freaking scripts now. They took 5 days to write a freaking script. All their inaction, they all need to go to jail. They should face charges for allowing this. They should be removed from office, beginning with the governor and then the mayor and then this councilwoman and all of them. The police chief had already said that it was overwhelming for him, that they couldn't handle the discord that was going on with all the mayhem. He had already said that he had to clean it up because that's going against the governor and the mayor. That they needed the National Guards. He went along with what Trump said, and they didn't like that. But he was telling the truth because his men were in danger. His officers were being hurt. They couldn't contain those crowds. They were outnumbered. So they needed a force to be sent there so these people would stand down. And now they all got their own little speeches and they're reading them, and they want to take Trump to court to allow this to continue. That's what they want to do. They want to give our country to this nonsense, because not only are they having these riots, because that's what they are. They are not peaceful protests. That's already been debunked. They're riots. They're in California. They're in New York, Chicago. I think they tried in Florida, Texas. They're spreading out in different places, because that's how the Democrats organize. They get the leaders, just like the hands off 50-51, and they get their people and they go out and they pay people too, and they have them acting up and they hit the streets. That's what they do. But they didn't get the memo that Trump won the election. And not only did he win the popular vote, he won all swing states. When they're doing the polling, the majority of Americans want this to happen, what Trump is doing. Now, they're thinking they're making the most noise, but they're not speaking for us. They want to push these people so that they can get the votes. But guess what? Americans are not down with this. And we're going to show it when we vote them out of office. How about that? They don't have a plan. They don't have no solutions. They don't have any leaders. All they do is Trump, Trump, Trump. All they do is fight Trump no matter what he does. What he did, send the National Guard, saying what country is going to allow people that are not even citizens to override their country? Do I have to say that again? What country is going to allow non-citizens to override their country? Who's going to allow that? But with these Democrats, and the world is watching, they think that we're supposed to allow non-citizens, illegal immigrants, to override our president, our government, the people of the United States of America. Because the majority have spoken. We don't want this. This is not what we want.
What's happening right now? When these peaceful rallies end and the protesters head home, another element moves in. Opportunists who come in under the cover of a peaceful protest to ravage and destroy. They are ruining local small businesses, smashing storefronts, and threatening the safety of the very community that has always welcomed people from across the city and globe. This isn't just broken glass or stolen goods, it's someone's livelihood, someone's safe space, someone's home that's been violated. And it's happening in a neighborhood where working class families are just trying to live. Our street vendors, our garment workers, many of whom are immigrants, continue to watch their communities be torn apart. And that's why I'm thankful to the mayor for leveraging this tool, enacting a curfew to begin tonight. This has been something that many of my constituents in downtown have been calling for what they're facing. This curfew is not about silencing protests. It's about protecting people and ensuring that the local residents, small businesses, our families, our elders, and our workers are not left vulnerable to those who come only to destroy. What happens in downtown reverberates all throughout LA, and when we protect downtown, we protect our city. And we're investing in its future, and we invest in our shared future. So to my colleagues and to our residents and everyone watching, downtown LA is not just a center for the First Amendment expression, it's a community. It's a home, and the people in it deserve our protection and care. That path ahead may be uncertain, but our responsibility to protect and uplift this neighborhood is not. I want to close this message from my constituents so that you hear them loud and clear. Downtown LA is home. Please keep it safe. And let's keep each other safe. Thank you, Los Angeles.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman. I'd now like to introduce Nella McCusker, who is the CEO of the Central City Association. We were having conversations this morning about a couple of things. One, the ongoing problem with violence, but also the need, when all of this subsides, is to repair and restore downtown Los Angeles,
You're
especially
crazy, lady.
the businesses and properties that have been hit with graffiti. Nella McCusker.
Where's the money coming
Thank you,
from?
Mayor. Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Council Member. The swift action today to take a look at and examine how this curfew could be put in place is a good example of the leadership we see and continue to need for downtown. CCA, or Central City Association, represents businesses, institutions, nonprofits, the fabric of downtown Los Angeles that also represents the wider city. And it is the case that downtown is a neighborhood. It is the case that downtown is where immigrant-owned businesses try to operate and thrive. And so we can differentiate between downtown being a place to gather, to have your voice be heard, to peacefully protest, and the actions that we've seen each evening since this occurred in the last few days. So thank you for applying this tool. There are others certainly that we could look at as well, but hopefully Angelinos rally together in support of this really important section of our city because of the symbol and of the benefits it provides to everyone across Los Angeles. Thank you.
Jergens Natural Glow Sun Drops. Just drop, mix with my lotion, and glow. The feel-good feeling.
Really, like when you listen to these people, it's like it isn't real. I don't know how many of you guys are believing this nonsense and this fake mayor, this fake governor, and all these people that are reading from scripts. The actions that they are taking on the 5th day, they should have taken it day 1. That's what leaders do. Now, they haven't built back California from the wildfires that destroyed entire communities. Entire communities. These are Gavin Newsom and Mayor Bass. They didn't take action with that destruction. What's that, $50 billion? Now they're talking about the destruction in Los Angeles and building back. Where's all this money coming from? Do you know that they try to spend millions of dollars to fight Trump instead of giving money for the fires? They had a special meeting, I remember, because I did a program on it. I think they had 20 million or 22 million to fight against Trump about the wildfires because he wanted water to be put in the reservoirs. But they didn't have an emergency meeting about the people that were displaced and how they can help the people. This is how deranged. And they have the audacity, after all of the destruction, and we all see it. The world is seeing it. Everybody knows there's nothing peaceful about it. Everyone can look at and see the day that Trump sent the National Guards in there. After the 3rd day of fire, car burnings, and everything else. Destroying police cars after the 3rd day. He like, these people they're not gonna even react because they want it to go on. They want the people to carry on and say, free the criminals. ICE, don't come here, don't take anybody. But guess what? You don't tell us what to do. You're not in charge. This is like so disgusting. You know, it's on another level of, can you believe it or not? Can you believe this or not? I mean, how are they going to play on our intelligence and tell us that this was all peaceful and that Trump is responsible for their lack of action? Did she take responsibility for anything? Did Gavin Newsom take responsibility for anything? Did they hold themselves accountable for their lack of action? They still didn't do anything. The only action they have taken is try to take Trump to court so that the National Guards will not be there to keep order. Because ICE is going to do their job. And they need to do their job. When did non-citizens can override a government, to override a country that you're not even a citizen of? Are y'all kidding me?
They said, Community Health, Community Heart said, it's all fun until they come for American citizens to send your family to another country. God bless.
Y'all gotta stop that fear-mongering bull crap. That is not an excuse for bad behavior. That's not an excuse to let non-citizens, we are citizens. These are go to China and do this. Go to Russia, non-citizens, and take over their government. Go anywhere.
Middle Eastern.
Go to Middle Eastern. Go to Saudi Arabia. Go to Germany. Go to England. Overthrow their governments.
Overthrow the king and queen.
Overthrow the king and queen. Tell them get out of the palace. They're talking awesome, Cindy. America first. She's yeah. You don't want to hear because you know you're not supposed to be here. Yeah, people, don't forget to hit the like button. Hey, Eric, thanks for putting that out there. Don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe. We do appreciate people supporting. You support us by subscribing, not necessarily monetary donations, but the subscriptions and building the channel up. We're trying to reach a certain number. We'd like to have 100,000 subscribers by the end of this year, and we can do it because we have tens and thousands of people that join us each stream. So, one stream we could get 100,000. Actually, people hit, subscribe, but that would be a beautiful thing. But it's coming. But it's just difficult when you work in integrity and honesty and call it like you see it. I'm not going to fluff up and believe a lie. I'm not going to believe that this nonsense, what they're trying to gaslight us about, everyone is watching this. It's hard to lie when you got so many videos and live streams and everyone is watching and they still are lying to our faces. Their lack of action is the problem, and they need to be held accountable, and they need to be prosecuted for not doing their job. No, they need to be removed from their jobs. And hopefully they will be voted out. She shouldn't be mayor, and Newsom shouldn't be governor, and he sure in hell will not become president. Not on my watch. He will not become president. Look at the stuff that they're allowing. These blue states, sanctuary cities, they're allowing these states and cities to be overrun. They're using their constituents' taxpayer dollars to fund these people, and they have no respect for any of us. Let's hear what else she got to
Acknowledge Dr.
say.
Earl Suthers, who is the president of the Los Angeles Police Commission. Let me just say also that we did not hear about any raids that took place today. The problem is that we don't know how long these raids are going to go on. If they're going to go on for 30 days, that's what the rumor is. And if we want to see our city peaceful again, I will call upon the administration one more time to end the raids. With that,
Is she
open
crazy?
it up for questions.
I have a question for Mayor Bass.
You better ask the right questions.
For the mayor, what changed today that made you think that the curfew was now necessary? Last night was definitely not the first night where graffiti and vandalism and some violence were happening in the city. So why did you decide now that it was time to get curfew? And for Councilmember Corrado, after you called certain elements opportunists, ravaging and destroying the community. One of your staffers was arrested downtown, and now there's a curfew in your district. And I was wondering if you could speak a little bit to that and how you're feeling about the situation with one of your staff.
Let me just say that a curfew has been in consideration for several days, but clearly after the violence that took place last night, 23 businesses looted, and just the extensive, widespread nature of the vandalism, we reached a tipping point and declared a state of emergency and called for the curfew. Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you for that question. Yes, I'm aware of what's happened to my staff member. They're on unpaid leave right now. I hold my staff to the highest standards while I wait to see due process, and so we'll see the outcome of that. But I see that as separate and apart from a reaction to what our constituents want in the city and how this type of opportunism has escalated between yesterday and the day before. And, you know, frankly, I admit my humility here and my beginnerness in that I'm new to downtown, but our downtown stakeholders have seen this multiple times over and had to basically develop their own strategies. And they saw the warning signs of how this could get worse. And they knew from past experiences that curfews have been ways in order to stem this and to calm the city once again. And it's but one tool that we can execute at this time.
They knew from past experience they weren't going to do nothing.
Yeah, Mayor Bass, I know that you were referencing that there have been 23 businesses that have now been damaged, broken into. You have videos of the Apple Store and Adidas. Any sort of estimate of the cost of damage at this point with all this vandalism? And also, what is the latest on the raise arriving here? And is there been anything else about what their mission will be?
So there is not a financial estimate right now unless Noah has one.
In the case of,
do you want
to? It's millions. In the case of some of the larger,
millions.
In the case of some of the larger retail stores, it's in the millions. But I don't know of the 23 what the total is.
And I think it's really hard to estimate the vandalism from the graffiti. It's just widespread. I know that you have seen it.
And as far as the Marines arriving?
Oh, I'm sorry. You did ask that question. Who knows? I mean, I don't know if you know, Chief. I mean, the bottom line is that we're not told. Basically, we have to operate on rumors. So rumor has it that there's 700 Marines that are going to come here. I have no idea what they would do when they would get here. Right now, we have 100 National Guard whose sole mission is to protect the federal building downtown. That's 100. There's another 100 in Westwood protecting the federal building there. And I haven't heard of any protests that had anything to do with ICE taking place at the Westwood federal building, unless you have, Chief. Right. So we just don't know. And I think that's a problem with the administration, because to come in such a massive way and to make the announcements that all of this was going to happen and then not communicate it with the local jurisdiction as to when, what, how, why is really problematic.
Yeah, that's the problem. Not the millions of dollars of damage, the destruction.
Curfew.
Remove her.
This evening, dusk to dawn.
8 p.m. tonight. 6 a.m.
Let's say we had a curfew like that was on Mayor Bradley, it was 3 days. Are you taking this day by day at this point? That's one question. Then as a second one, when do you plan on reaching out to Donald Trump, President Trump? You said you want to talk with him, that you will reach out.
Actually, I started that reach out today, so we will see what happens. I will keep you posted.
Can you update us on the parameters of the curfew area? I just want to make sure people heard that. And
Yes, and it's the map that is right there. So it basically is all of downtown Los Angeles. But, you know, in LA, we identify by our freeways. So all of the freeway numbers are there. 110, the 5, the 10.
This is the area where the protests have been so.
Yes, and actually that's a broader area that the protests have been focused. You know that the protests have been limited to about 5 streets in downtown Los Angeles. And again, that's why it's so important to let the people know this is not all of Los Angeles. If you put downtown Los Angeles in the context of the overall city map, you see how big it is. 1 square mile compared to 503 square miles.
Mayor, in terms of what the federal authorities are doing, I know you're saying they're not telling you when they're going to be doing these various things. Are you getting anywhere in terms of cooperation of notifying your police agencies in advance so they can make some plans to deploy, if necessary, to some local communities?
No, we're not. No, we're not. And we also don't know, again, about the ICE raids. And that's why I think, you know, I would appeal to the president to stop the ICE raids so that we can have stability in our city. I think about the families who are afraid to go to work and go to school. I was talking to a friend today who, in her local grocery store, the shelves were empty. A lot of the shelves were empty because people aren't coming to work to stock the shelves. We have to look at the contribution that the immigrant population makes to our local economy. And you know that there are some industries that are the majority
Yeah, we're looking at it. It just costs them. They know the figures. They know the roundabout figures that so far, the last 4 or 5 days, that they will allow them to face the destruction and the looting They're already saying millions of dollars. Millions of dollars. The destruction is not going to clear up overnight. But what she wants the president to do is stop them from doing their jobs. So whenever they go in, then it's going to be an issue. It's going to be an issue. So leave the criminals where they're at, because non-citizens are going to protest, and they're going to loot and they're going to destroy the city, while the governor and the incompetent mayor sit on their behinds and don't do anything about it. 5 days before they came out, even with a curfew. That should have been, if you're a leader, why wasn't that done day one? Why aren't the reporters? They need to hold them accountable. What are their accountability to what's going on? Stop trying to act like these people were peaceful. Oh, they were hard working. There's no jobs. They destroyed the whole community. It's graffiti everywhere. It looks like a war zone with the graffiti. They destroyed the community. This is so disturbing on so many levels.
So when you frighten immigrants and they don't want to come to work, you are hitting at the heart of our local economy. The nannies that can't show up, the gardeners that can't show up. That impacts households in a way that I don't think people often realize the extent.
I don't know if you heard earlier, the president referred to that it would look similar to how it did back in January, the LA wildfires. Did
I found something I was never supposed to touch. No label, no manual.
Well, what are some of the difficulties when it comes to planning, not having unison with yourself, the state,
And so I think I missed the first part of it. He said the reason why the wildfires were handled was because there were federal police.
He said it would look similar to how it did during the wildfires here and the aftermath if they didn't have the federal law enforcement.
Yeah, I don't know, Chief, maybe you want to respond to that. I don't think that question, and sometimes what the president says, it's difficult to kind of understand. What I will tell you, though, is that after the wildfires, were out, the president made sure we had ample resources with the Army Corps of Engineers, and it was a significant contributing factor to us having the fastest recovery of any location in comparison to where other wildfires had taken place. It contributed to the fact that in the Palisades now, we have over 2,700 lots that are clear where people can be rebuilding now. I was at a property a couple of weeks ago where the frame of the house is already in.
Let's be clear. It's not because of her action that lots are clear. Trump wanted to build immediately. He wanted them to get rid of all the red tape so people could clear it out. She did nothing, and neither did Gavin Newsom. Nothing. And it's costing billions and billions of dollars to begin rebuilding what the wildfires have done to Los Angeles, to the Palisades. They said that was the biggest, I think the Palisades was the most devastating disaster in United States history. That's how much money it's going to cost to rebuild there. And that was on her watch and Governor Newsom watch. And what he was trying to prevent is already in the millions of dollars because of her lack of action. Her lack of action. Governor Newsom, lack of action. Day one, they should have had a curfew. Day one, they should have asked for help. How are you going to stop them from doing their job? So what they're saying, whenever they go in, then it's going to be a problem. These people are not just random people. These people are already on the radar of ICE. These people have already been convicted of crimes. They already are convicted of the crimes. These are people that have history of crimes that they're trying to remove from that state. And they are fighting tooth and nail not to remove one of them. They are releasing them back on the street. ICE wants to go inside the prisons, not the communities. They've been requesting with these blue states, governors and mayors, let us go into the prisons and apprehend them before they go back out on the street. They don't want that. They're back on the street, then ICE is going after them. This is so disgusting that these people are in leadership.
This to me is drastically different. That was in complete cooperation and coordination with the federal government. Right now, we are in the dark. We don't know when things are going to happen. One thing we're sure about, and I think the chief would agree with me, is that we have the capacity to address this situation here, and we don't need armies or National Guard, especially that we didn't even ask for.
Millions
and
of
the
dollars
idea
later.
that the president took the power away from the governor to do this it was really just unacceptable. But Chief, did you want to, if you want to?
Thank you. To that issue, we have a protocol in place that we use, and when we are dealing with something like this, where it takes some resources away from our regular patrol duties and ability to provide the service we do, we mobilize the department, and so that brings in people from vacation and our days off and allows us to use them. We've mobilized the Office of Operations, the biggest part of the department, and our motor officers. We're looking to expand that with additional officers from within. We requested through the Sheriff Mutual Aid, which then is coordinated by the Office of Emergency Management in the state, Emergency Services, with the sheriff, and they bring in then surrounding communities and in this case counties to be able to help supplement our resources to deal with the issues at hand. They are tremendous partners. We've worked very closely together for the past couple of days now, and I think we have seen a significant improvement in things, and we will continue to watch for that as we move forward. We're hopeful with this curfew that'll give us additional tool as well to be able to bring this chapter to a close.
When we heard from you this weekend, you mentioned officers being overwhelmed and you needed to get to a position where you can make large-scale arrests, and that you were considering, you said it was really too early to determine whether or not the National Guard was necessary on the city streets. Given what you just said, have you reevaluated?
You're going to wash your clothes and clean your house.
And the I guess the sequence would be, as I mentioned, we request mutual aid, partner agencies from throughout, in this case, the 7-county area. The next step then, if we weren't able to handle the issue, is to request through the sheriff to the governor and the emergency OES at the state National Guard to be deployed. We are nowhere near that in this environment. We believe we can do what we need to do with the resources that we now have access to, and I think we've seen a dramatic increase in arrests over the last couple of days. I believe that will continue, and that will help bring some order to what we've seen in the past few days. So, no.
Hey, Chief, I'm seeing where the emergency operations center at level 2 activation. What does that mean to the people of LA to know we're at level 2?
Yeah, there's, anybody want to, go ahead. Probably more specifically, Troy.
Chief Chow, that's okay. Blake Chow from Office of Special Operations. So just like our Department of Operations Center across the hall, when we get into a emergency that needs to be managed, the EOC can be pushed up to a level 2, and that means all the other city departments that work for the mayor come in and have a rector, and we're able to coordinate city response to anything that's going on within the city. That's what level 2 is.
Let me also just add to your question that you were asking. Now that the president has taken over authority of the National Guard, Chief, when you were describing the way it should go, now that has been disrupted. And I think that that's important. I know one of the things that the chief said that we're going to focus on is trying to gather as many local resources as possible. And that includes Los Angeles police officers and trying to bolster the officers that will be stationed downtown, because downtown is where
It's funny. Now, the chief of police knows he better cooperate with her, because when they had the wildfires not too long ago, the fire chief, she lost her job when she started putting out the information how incompetent this mayor was. She lost her job when she started telling on what was really going on, how she didn't supply the resources they need, how they didn't move on it, how they didn't have water in the reservoir. When she started telling on how incompetent this mayor and governor were, the police chief was fired. Now, I mean, the fire chief lost her job. Now he knows. He started the other day was saying that they couldn't handle what was going on, that he was in agreement with Trump. Trump even said in the Oval Office that the police chief was honest. Now today, they watching him and listening to him because he wants to keep his job, because if he doesn't go along with the program, he would no longer be the chief of police.
Crisis is right now. Yes, any other questions? All right, thank you very much.
And she's acting like they are so proud of themselves. It's just horrific just to think that these people are in charge. I mean, I don't know how these people have gotten to these positions. It must have been a whole lot of fluff and a whole lot of lies, because when you know how well a leader is when crisis happens.
Back it up.
Sorry, you guys.
There was something that stick out. Thanks, CT.
Look at the flags. USA. Yeah, USA. The world is watching this. Look at this.
The officers up here right now, guys. Oh, they're on top, yeah.
Look at the graffiti and stuff that's going on.
Some journalists up there.
I mean, they're so happy about their countries. It's like, why don't they just go back to Mexico or wherever they're from?
Crazy.
And they don't want Trump to do anything about this. Right.
They just moved further down.
I'm glad Trump is Captain America, because that's what we need right now. Freaking Captain America. It looks more peaceful. They got a lot of cops out there.
So there's a few of them that are just staying back, not really, just moved over a little bit. And there's also some stuff in San Francisco. Is that San Francisco? They say chaos outside Manhattan Federal Building.
North on Spring Street.
Atlanta's ready to do this. Atlanta smashing police vehicles.
Atlanta's smashing police vehicles. It's crazy. What's the job of Captain America?
I'm sure you got some of this.
What's the job? Captain America.
This is what is this? This is Atlanta. Take a look at
That's New York. Just look at the mayhem that's going on. The unrest.
Wow.
And they don't want Trump to do anything about
This one is
these people taking
Atlanta.
taking over.
Wow.
Look at this.
Oh.
Did you see that? Cops normally be out their car. They would be shooting them. Look at this. Are y'all seeing this stuff?
Crazy.
Look at them stomping out the. I hope the cops are they in the car?
Oh, so there's another clip. What's the same one? Okay. Oh, no, this is New York, Federal Building. Yeah, he's running. Cops are running. Wow. That person's ducking and weaving, ducking and bobbing.
Still at it. Look.
Oh shit!
Look at this. Cops, y'all better look. Treat them like y'all two black people.
Yo, what?
Sanctuary cities, they can't do nothing to them. Cops' hands are tied. Look what they're doing. They don't fear the cops.
Oh, that guy hit my phone. Yo, why you knocking me?
National Guard is needed there. Send the National Guard.
Oh my gosh.
This is crazy.
Wow. Those people are just jumping.
See, those those sanctuary cities. They hope that big beautiful bill is going to take away their status. They need to hurry up and pass that.
They're pushing it. Oh, he's dodging.
Look them in their car. Look at this. If they want to fly American flags, Mexico flags instead of American flags, then they really need to go back to their country.
So what caused to move, guys, was they started damaging vehicles.
They're damaging cop cars.
They're refusing to let them go through.
Peaceful protests. Peaceful protests. You could think a Democrat, no anti-hate crime bill for George Floyd. Get off the plantation. Thank Biden for the 1994 crime bill, mass incarceration of black men. Thank a Democrat for that. Thank a Democrat for the Ku Klux Klan. You know they the ones that started it. Thank a Democrat. Look at this. Do this look like America to you? Really? The Americans on here? Do this look like America? This has been going on for 5 days, and this is in other states. This is not even Los Angeles. ICE is not arresting people there like this. This is the Democrats. This is their plan. They want this unrest. At least January the 6th were Americans. These are non-citizens. There is no country that's going to allow people to come in that aren't citizens of their country and cause this destruction and take over their cities. It's not going to happen. You can holler January the 6th all you want to, but at least they were Americans. And there are laws for them. These people are not even citizens of this country. And they feel like that they can do this in our country and Americans don't have any say about this? Really? That we just supposed to watch and we're supposed to condone this? This is our country that they're doing this to. There isn't any justification for this. The red carpet was rolled out for these illegal immigrants. They shouldn't have any complaints. None. We put them above our military, giving them resources. Our homeless, giving them resources. Our elderly, giving them. We put them above us. They've been given everything for the last few years. And now they want us to allow them to not arrest criminals. Get out of here. Oh, David, hi. I mean, this is ridiculous. Everything's been given to them. They've been here a few years. So don't compare American citizens and some of the things that we disagree with in comparison to this. January the 6th is one day. They didn't say January the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th. It wasn't no 5 days. January 6th. So don't bring that up again. Welcome. Y'all are going to have to find another talking point. Y'all got to go and ask them for another, because you have none. And now they want to have a liberal judge to order the president of the United States to have the National Guards to stand down. They can't say January the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. But this is what? How many days? 5 days. And they were Americans. These people are illegal immigrants. They have no talking points. You cannot justify this crap that's going on for 5 days of destruction. Can't justify this. But this is crazy. And it's amazing how people can look at this and see the lack of action was taken by the governor, the mayor, and these are other cities, because Democrats mobilized quickly.
Okay with this. It's like,
They want
do you not
this.
see this? What's going
They
on?
want this. They want to stop ICE from doing their job, because these sanctuary cities hide criminals. They have protection. If you're a criminal, you go to one of these sanctuary cities and you have the illegal immigrants fighting for you to be let free. This is unbelievable. That's why that's why it's a good thing that Trump is the president. That if Kamala was the president, they would have taken over they would have taken over America.
We would be doomed.
We would be
The
doomed.
whole world would end because everyone would be at war.
Everyone would be at war. We would be doomed. We can't even focus on Ukraine and Zelensky and Putin and Gaza and Afghanistan and Iran and China. They trying to sneak chemicals into this country. They're catching them coming in the country. Will buy, what is it? Some chemicals. Who knows what they're up to? We got to focus on America, because we had a president that opened up the borders, and this is the result of it. This is the result of open borders. This is what this is a result of. Open borders. And the Democrats lost election, and what they're doing and what they're saying is that we're going to move forward because it's not about the people, it's about votes. They don't care about the people. It's all about votes. It's all about power. It's not about these people. They're being used. But they need to apply for citizenship, and they need to come into this country legally, like they're supposed to. Period. Well, we're gonna we're gonna choose which laws we're gonna follow. We're gonna follow certain laws, but other laws we're not gonna follow. We're gonna pick and choose the laws that we're gonna follow. It don't work like that. You don't get to pick and choose the laws that we follow. They broke the law. And the people that allowed it and that Democratic Party, they need to be arrested. They need to be arrested because they caused this. They're the reason why all of this is going on. Because they thought they had this big bright plan that they were going to retain power for the next 60 years. They already got the black vote on lockdown. They don't have to worry about black people because we're always going to keep voting the same way. So they don't have to promise black people anything. But in order to beat another party, the Republicans or independent party, you have this other voting block with these immigrants. That's why they were flying them in, opening up the borders. They was trying to get them in as fast as possible before the 2024 election. And they couldn't do it. They were giving them apps to use to come in. They were doing everything to get them in here. Why? Because of votes. It's all because of votes. And now that they are here, and now they need to leave because it's unsustainable. America's broke. It's unsustainable. We're trying to find money to pay back the debt. We can't pay it back when we got this weight on our backs. We're spending more money on them than they're bringing into this country. And the jobs they're taking are from American citizens. So that's why Trump is trying to get them out of here. And look what they brought with them. They want to fly, see that flag? They want to fly their flags in our country. Have you ever seen such a thing? And they're burning our flags right in front of our faces. They're burning the American flag. That's the respect they're showing for this country and its citizens. They're spitting on the flag and burning the flag, and they proudly flying their flag. Then they need to go back to that country that they love so dearly. It makes no sense. But anyway, you guys, it's like this stuff is crazy. It's like a 3-hour difference here. So they should be abiding by the curfew that they finally have decided to
previously and now. We have a conscience with mind, and we have a duty and moral obligation to say no and resist evil. We are not pawns for Donald Trump's agenda. Why now?
I think we need to see a chopper to see what's going on above. Oh, my cat froze up. Man. I'll send you a message on Twitter real quick. Thanks.
Don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe. Thank you. We appreciate it.
Let's see. 30 seconds ago, war zone in Atlanta. Picking up, you get the stream. I was trying to find NYC, but they all like. I mean, I saw one that didn't look any. Like,
yeah, pray for peace. Jocelyn is a diehard for our channel. This is not the way. God bless Cindy and Young General. Gotta sleep. See you next time. Okay, Outlaw, thank you so much. All the moderators, we appreciate you guys. Thank you, Outlaw. Yeah, we had to jump back on here. It's like, it's unbelievable, and it's disheartening to see this happening. It's not a good thing for any of us. Yeah, you guys, we about to jump off too because this stuff be going on early in the morning, and this is going to be going on for hours. But thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. We got 170 people still on. Don't forget to hit the like, share, subscribe. Thank you, Happy Matt. Yes, like and subscribe. Thank you guys so much for being a part of this. Like, even you, Jocelyn. I see that, yeah, fight for what you believe in. Because they're going, you know, people in the chat, they're going, you know, they're going to push back on you.
Tonight, the LA Phil canceled
They're going to handle
at the Walt
business.
Disney Concert Hall, posting on Facebook saying it was because of the curfew that is in effect. So we had another viewer reach out and say, you know, what about the Dodgers game? Well, if you look, Dodger Stadium is just outside of the curfew area there, so that likely will not be impacted as a result of the curfew, but there is still, you know,
yeah, so the games and stuff.
Canceled. You know, businesses in the area are likely closing down.
They're closing down.
You know, compliant with that. I mean, you certainly would think you're not going to have a ton of customers coming into the area if you are in the curfew zone. So
this is crazy. Wait a minute, you guys. We're going to be on here tomorrow. I know we're coming on tomorrow. Because we got to see there. You want to see what these judges are going to do in regards to the National Guard taking away authority, trying to take away authority from Trump. But this is our country, and we got to take it back. This is ridiculous. We got to take back our country. God bless you guys. Thanks for joining us. I don't know. Hopefully nobody gets hurt out there or lose their life. Because they are really getting crazier and crazier day by day. And it's not worth it.
Just those people being.
Thank you, Mr. Boosie. This is crazy.
Down.
This is crazy. But thanks, guys. We're jumping off. God bless. Thanks, everyone.